Good evening, everybody. Welcome in the slot. It's a special edition because finally, after 9 or 10 weeks, we finally got all the general managers in the same room together for a great edition of In the Slot. General manager of the Brewers, Bill Newbound. General manager of the Extreme, Tash Farrier. General manager of the Stars, Matt Lothian. I'm just like pointing.
Yep.
I don't know. Don't know what to do with my hands today. No. Thank you, all of you, for taking some time and joining me tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We'll chat about the season in general, but as we always do, let's just take a look at the highlights, a quick recap of the last game. First period was 1-1, and the game was actually decided in a very chaotic 2.5 minutes where 5 goals were scored. Nat Benson made it 2-1 for the Extreme, and it was kind of a stable hockey game up to this point, and then, chaos over just over 150 seconds or whatever it was. Ambrose Foster ends up getting his first goal on a little turn and shoot. That made it 2-2. I'm sure he was feeling good on the bench about that. Jake Riley kind of collided with Jeremy Friedrich and the puck went up in a bit of a funny way, and then all of a sudden it was 3-2, and then 30 seconds after that, Nat Benson makes it 3-3, and then 36 seconds after that, off the face-off, Johan Levesque makes it 4-3, and then 4 or 5 minutes later, Johan Levesque scores a goal. He kind of makes Andrew Chen look a little silly here. Chen keeps backing up, and Levesque burns by him and goes. That would have pumped up the bench, eh?
He was pretty excited as well, and actually I got a little overexcited, to be perfectly honest, when he scored that. He came right up to me.
So walk me through what the Stars' mindset was before and after that game, because obviously before that game you just blown a 7-0 lead.
We were confident. I feel like we've really been building what we've been doing. We started off a little shakier than we really wanted to, and we've really been building towards that. We got a great start, obviously against the Brewers, got the 7-goal lead and somehow capitulated, which is obviously super disappointing, but we're building in the right direction. So to have that last game against the Extreme, very, very good, obviously top of the table, and to take it to them like that, we're super stoked, and more than that, to hang on to a lead, show a little bit of grit, show a little bit of resolve to get the W.
Tash, what was your assessment of that game?
Yeah, well, I thought it was a great game of hockey, and credit to the Stars. Capitalised when the opportunities came. They played a great game. Held us off in the last couple of minutes. We obviously had the opportunities. We had I'd say 5 or 6 shots towards the end there, and they did a really good job in holding us out. So and massive credit to Glenn for his work. And I was surprised he didn't get one of the Stars, to be honest. But I think he played an awesome game, and credit to Glenn on that one.
Yeah, the game was weird, right? Because it was a 2-2 hockey game for 57 minutes and 30 seconds. If you take out that 2.5 minute stretch in the middle, it was actually one of the tighter games played in terms of there were some scoring opportunities. Goalies played well. Did you guys feel like that too, that the game was a bit less chaotic than other games we maybe had?
Yeah, I thought we remained fairly calm and composed. It was pretty hectic first 10 minutes. They had a mountain of shots, and obviously Glenn made some big saves at that point. But I think we built up what we were doing, started playing better defensively, and started just relaxing a little bit, which is what you need.
Johan Levesque had a few more goals. Let's take a look at the scoring leaders right now. Levesque has padded his lead at the top. He's got 15 points. Nat Benson creeping up behind them. There's a whole pile of players up there. Every team's played 6 games right now, but Johan Levesque over the last 3 games has gone absolutely off the rails. What is he drinking?
I don't know. He's just such a determined individual, and he's just a man possessed. Even at training, he holds himself to such a high standard, and works his butt off every time. So the results are on the board for what he puts in off the ice and at practice.
Standings, all teams separated by 2 points. A pretty crucial game this Friday night, actually, between the Brewers and Stars that might just determine who that last playoff spot is. It could get if this game goes to overtime, it gets absolutely chaotic in terms of opening up a world of possibilities, and you've already gone to overtime twice. 2 regulation wins for the Stars, just 1 regulation win for the Brewers so far. Those 2 overtime/shootout losses coming in handy, well, in both ways, because the Brewers came back in both those games. So it's a tight competition right now. You're playing 3 weeks in a row. The Brewers have 2 weeks off. What do you like playing batches of games in a row, or do you get thrown off when you have that bye week in this stretch of plays?
We quite like the bye week. It sort of gives us a chance to refresh, go over a bit of video footage as well from the last 2 games. Also watch the Stars and Extreme, watch their game, review their game, see what they've maybe changed and what we can change moving forward to the next one. So we don't mind it.
What's the Brewers' headspace at? Obviously, the first 2 games after the break, come back from that 7 goals down, and then kind of it wasn't a 7-goal comeback, but you had a 5-3 lead late in that hockey game versus the Extreme, and the Extreme got the better of you. So where's the Brewers' kind of balance at right now?
Well, we had some. I had some harsh words to say to the boys after that. Opportunity went begging for us against the Extreme. But right now, we just know we've got a task in front of us, and we would have preferred if the Stars had lost on the week on Friday night as well to help our chances. But we're excited for the challenge now.
How crazy is it that all the games are coming down to the last minute? In almost every single game, even in the games there was that one Extreme it was the Stars Brewers game. It was 4-1 Stars, and then the Brewers scored 2 goals late, and they had a face-off with like 30 seconds to go. Like every game comes down to the wire. It's just chaos, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. No, there hasn't been a blowout in the season from my memory. I think everything's settled between a goal or 2 and a lot of overtime. So, it's close competition, fun for the fans and stressful for us.
Yeah. But that's what I want to actually ask you guys about, because it's been interesting to watch all of you interact and go about your business on game day, because all of you have the same role as general managers, but all of you seem to do something a little bit different on game day. So we'll start with you, Bill. What do you do on actual Brewers game day?
Pretty much just making sure everything's set up for the boys. Get here early, fill up water bottles for the team, make sure that's all sorted, make sure that just everything's running by the clock. Obviously you get given a little spreadsheet of times and when boys are going to be up and ready for national anthem and warm-ups and everything like that, and after periods. So it's just more organising, make sure everyone's on the right track.
And then where do you watch when the game is actually on and you can't really do too much?
I try to watch from the stands.
I see you pacing around.
The last couple of games I have been on the bench, and now we're going to go back to the old system of being in the stands. I was probably a bit too much of a distraction last game, and I think my home's in the stands.
What about you, Tash?
It's consistently before the last 2 games, basically similar to what Bill's saying, but make sure the jerseys are set up, that there's ice available in the medical kits are there, and just making sure that things are set up so the guys can come in and not have to think about too much. Communicate with Sean from Peak, who's our sports trainer. He comes down before each game and actually warms the guys up for a bit of routine each week. So just the stock standard things like that, and just check in with the coaches and see if there's anything I can do on that lens. But obviously Stu wasn't here the last 2 games, so I've been on the bench playing multiple roles, so just holding the fort, but Stu should be back now, so all back to normal.
And Matt, you're pretty much on the bench the whole season.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. When me and Sammy obviously first got together for the Stars, that was one thing that we discussed. Obviously, not technically a coach, but just assisting with that coaching element, being on the bench and just working with the team. So, I just still do all those same sort of things. A lot of pre-match, you sort of do all the clock management, make sure everything's running smoothly, make sure the guys know how much time they have left and all that sort of thing, and organize all the things behind the scenes that need organizing. But being behind the bench is great. I love being there.
So how does the experience as a general manager, where you come to the game and you watch it from the crowd, differ for you from when you are a general manager going to the game and watching on the bench? Because both of you have experienced both of those things.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually speaking with Eric about this the other day. We were on the phone, and I said it's weird because when you're a player and you come to a game, you feel that nervousness, and as a GM, you're quite busy, and up in the stands, it's just completely different. When I was on the bench the last couple of games, I've had to go back and watch the game because you're so involved in the game, you don't actually get to watch it. So when I'm in the stands, it's just a completely different feel, and I'm definitely way more nervous on the bench because you're contributing to what's going on, and just a different experience.
Yeah, I think Tash pretty much hit on the head with all that. I prefer to be up in the stands as well. It gives you a better scope of the game. You get to analyse things a bit better than when you're in the fire of the chaos on the bench and everything. So, too many guys yelling, getting in your ear about certain things. So, up in the stands, it seems to be a way better atmosphere to sort of do your job.
How about you, Matt?
Look, I prefer to be on the bench personally, but I understand sort of that feeling of, sort of you're in the stands, pacing, nervous, and a little bit helpless on the bench. As Stash said, you're so distracted, so many different things. I mean, I've missed goals because I'm out the back patching a guy up, or running to get something that we need, for a guy who's cut himself or hurt himself or something like that. So,
how soon do you rewatch the game after it's being finished?
What game? The Brewers game, I wasn't too keen to rewatch it. It took me a fair old while. But being honest, I actually haven't rewatched the game from Friday night, so it'll probably be maybe tonight, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I know our coaches mostly watch it the next day, because then we have our next training on Wednesday, so they'll have all the stats and data and things ready to go for the team meeting. I personally haven't watched this last game, but yeah, I try to get around it the following day.
I don't tend to watch the replays back, to be perfectly honest. I leave that up to the coaches for their video reviews, and there's a few clips here and there where I know there's a certain play that happened that I want Mitchell to address or Jared to address, so I sort of go back and go, okay, this is going to be the one that I want looked at, or what could be done different here, or things that could be changed around.
Well, let me clarify, we are recording on Sunday night, and this is on Wednesday, so if you hear people say, yeah, I haven't watched it yet, maybe tonight, they don't mean they're waiting until Wednesday to... Just to clarify for you, Matt and Taj there, but how does that dynamic work with the coaches in terms of, if you're a general manager, obviously you put together this team, you drafted the team, you have this culture, how much leeway do you have with the coach that you selected in terms of calling them up and saying, hey, I'm thinking this, or vice versa, they calling you and bounce it? Like, walk me through the dynamic of your coaches.
Well, I mean, it's probably a bit different for me because I'm on the bench a fair bit, but I wanted to make it very clear that Sammy's the coach, Jason's the assistant, and they're doing the majority of the coaches. I'm there to support, and I'm there to help them with their ambitions and what they want to see on the bench. But yeah, no, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, we have pretty specific roles. Like, I don't get involved in the coaching as such. That's why Eric was brought on board, and Stu as well. So Stu's more the analysis guy. He flips videos for the boys and has all the annotations over the top. And then they both deliver at training, and we just collaborate and talk when we need to. But yeah.
Yeah, same thing. I said from the get-go to Mitchell that he's the coach, and that's his job. I try not to interfere with his work, and he tries not to interfere with mine. We get together quite often and have good dialogues and everything. And if there is something that needs to be brought up, we are good friends as well outside of the rink. So it's never too much of an issue to bring something up if there is a problem, and we address it and sort it out straight away.
So what do you talk about then, right? So if all of you have said, yeah, we let the coach do their job, whatever. When the coach, like you talked to Eric Lean right after the game, you just said, what do you talk about with Lean in terms of how things impact things going forward between all of you, I guess?
Yeah, I guess he would just ask my lens on a particular thing, or get my take on the game. And this is just me being on the bench when Stu wasn't there, so it's been a little bit different. But yeah, he'll just ask for my lens on something, and we'll just discuss it. And I mean, the last game, for example, even though there was a loss, we were still really happy with the product that the boys put together. And yeah, it's just little things like that, and just get the gist of where to next.
So it's almost using you guys as sounding boards, or getting your perspective to add to that data that the coaches now have decisions to make on how things shuffle up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're obviously going to contribute your opinion, and there's a reason we're all working together with these coaches, because we respect each other. So yeah, he'll ask me questions and I'll give it back. But at the end of the day, I want Sammy to coach, and Jason. So
how have you gone about managing? We'll start with you, Bill. Actually, how have you managed the interstate talent? Because obviously you've got a couple players that fly in, fly out, and now Jaden Ryan played defense last game. He's played a few different roles. How are you going about integrating and coaching a player that is FIFO?
Just plenty of communication with through chats on Messenger and everything like that. Just Jaden and Harley are right in there with being a part of the group and everything. Even though they are away, they contribute a lot to they watch all the games, they chat. When they come in, they sit down, they go through all the debriefing, everything like that. And they seem to be quite well prepared for coming into game day.
Meanwhile, and I know this from baseball as better as anyone, managing people that are moving for a temporary time interstate to play for the league, just like guys like Johan or Tom Sack, all of you are dealing with that, or Xander Wardlaw, Espo when he's here as well. How are you going about managing guys that are just moving to Adelaide just for the hockey league?
For me, it's easy because Yoey's loving it. He's just having a great time, having the time of his life, training and working hard. So it's been super easy for me. He hasn't really given me too much trouble at all. He's just loving life. So
yeah, I think the administrative part of it at the start of all this, because obviously the league, it's the first year. So at the start of the whole experience, I know that we did have some issues in getting some things settled for the guys. But now that they are settled, it's smooth sailing. Just little Espositos here for most of the time, and he'll just pop back every now and again for work-related matters. But pretty cruisy.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Like I said, hey, at the start it was just a bit of a head case, just getting everything sorted. It's a new process for everybody. Been a new league. It is for the guys running the league. It's for us running the teams. So it was just trying to find things in the right time frame and getting them sorted. But Tom's loving it here now as well. So everything seems to be settled down.
What surprised you collectively or individually about the league that I guess something popped? Obviously, this popped up out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you're thrown in the fire running a hockey team in a pro league. But what surprised you as this journey's gone on maybe the most?
Me personally, I think it's just how much fun I've had. It was really stressful at the start. There's a lot to organize, but now we're just having fun, and I'm just enjoying the fans and the interaction with the fans, with the players, and all those little fun elements, of the league. So it's been really well done. Yeah,
I think just a bit of a shake-up in Australian ice hockey generally. The more hockey, the better it is. I've asked guys from interstate what their views are, and they're watching the league, and they're loving how it's being produced, and they're loving the standard of marketing. And Ryan Rintala's doing a great job behind the scenes in the way that he's getting the scores across and the photos of the players. And I think it's really positive to be a part of something like this.
Yeah, for sure. And with us, I just think it looks like guys are enjoying hockey a lot more. Like the new experience of having a professional hockey league, 2 trainings a week. These are guys that usually just rock up playing beer league hockey through winter season, basically. They just go through the motions, but now that there's actually something to really play for, I'm finding guys that almost rejuvenate their love for the game.
Can you actually give me a little example maybe about a player? We said hockey's going to get better. They're training 2 times a week. Yeah, they're playing 60 minutes games. Yeah, games are played a bit more tight like we saw on Friday night. Do you have maybe an example of a player or a moment or a story that kind of encapsulates hockey has got better and let me show you why?
Nothing individual, really. It's I think it's just a product from game 1 to the games now. You can see the development from guys getting more settled into their systems. They're knowing what to do out there in certain situations and when to switch it up and when not. So I think it's just a product of hockey itself is just really starting to shine through.
I think you can look at a couple probably examples even of defensemen in obviously defensemen, we don't have as many defensemen in the country as probably other countries have in general, even in South Australia. But every team probably has a player that's probably stepped up and got better defensively as it's gone on. Look at a guy like Tristan Reese on the Brewers, right? Played primarily A grade. And how are you evaluating Tristan from where he was in day 1 to where he is now? Yeah,
well, he's definitely been a surprise of the season for sure. Picked him up fairly late in the draft, and originally I was thinking he's more probably going to be a depth guy, maybe a 3rd pairing. But now he's up on the top unit with Zach Boyle, so he's become pretty reliable. Can't really complain. He's been putting in the hard yards at the gym as well, so he's another guy that seems to be enjoying his hockey at the moment.
Is there a player for you on the extreme that you're like, oh wow, the development is there we go?
Yeah, well, obviously we have the likes of guys like Sharps and Hucks who have got a lot of experience. One that stands out for me would probably be Tom Tate. He hasn't had the experience of playing on an elite team before. He's even said it himself, he hasn't had that whole encompassing experience where you're training, you go on to the gym, you've got a program, you're focusing on all those aspects as well. You've got a classroom session, education from your coaches. He hasn't had that experience. Other guys on the team have played national team. They've probably had that experience. So the way that he's committed himself and he's so receptive to the learning and his attitude's amazing. So he's probably a standout in regards to that.
Which probably helps because then he gets thrown into the fire when you're missing guys like Hucks and Sharps in the last game, and all of a sudden Tom Tate's playing a mixture of top line and secondary line minutes and holding his own out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he's definitely the guy that I would say would probably be getting a lot out of this in comparison to some of those more experienced players.
Those are two defensemen so far. Are we going to keep the defensive theme, or are we going to mix it up?
There's a couple of guys that I can, I'm thinking of in the defense. Marco, Timmy Benson, who obviously haven't had that AIHL experience and working up from Prem, still young guys, working their craft, and they've obviously benefited from sort of elite training on ice and off ice. But the one guy I'm going to mention as well, and not necessarily to an NHL sense, but even from IHSA and playing Premier League, working up from Ambrose Foster scored a goal last week. Every time you see this kid every year, he gets a little bit better and a little bit better. A little ripped a little bit in the commentary, a little unfairly a couple of times I thought, but yeah, put a goal in last on Friday night. And super proud of the effort he puts in on and off the ice.
Are you guys finding that it's been a whole team approach, like in terms of those third, fourth line guys are all engaged all the time in terms of knowing that their moment could come at any kind of second here?
Yeah, for sure. We've got guys hanging to get on the ice. Reggie Mattross is number one at I think 42 years old or 38. I don't know how old.
I was going to say, I think he's younger than me, 42. So sorry, Reggie.
He's probably going to kill me if I say 42. Yeah. He's under 40.
I think he's younger than me. So
yeah, but he's a guy that we've been able to rely on a fair bit to either go out there. He scored a couple of big goals for us throughout the season, and he's also a guy that just goes out there. He's happy to throw the body. He's happy to be on the defensive side of the puck. So yeah, it's guys like that we really appreciate on our team for sure.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the whole group is aware of their role within the team, and they're all committed to that role. So regardless of how much ice time that entails, every guy is there for a team first. That they're not really caring about that other than getting the win for the group. So I'd say I'm pretty impressed with everyone in terms of that, and there's complete buy-in, because whether they're playing or they're not, they're all getting the same thing out of it. Whether they've played or not, they're still at the gym at recovery the next day. It's just that whole team commitment is what I'm probably most impressed with.
No, here you go.
I was just going to say that we're talking about those team efforts, like the game. Is there a game that you are most proud of that you've watched as a general manager in terms of like, yep, this game so far encapsulates everything we're trying to do on the ice so far? As
a whole game, it's tough. There's a bunch of periods I'd pick, but if I was going to pick one, it would be.
Well, let's go period. Let's just go period.
Look, obviously our big period against the Brewers was massive. I think this is the second we scored about 5 goals and 2 in the first. You'd probably remember, Eric.
Yeah. We had a 4-0 lead after the first period.
Yeah, we're flying and just playing good hockey and skating really well. But I mean, as a complete game, you have to look at last Friday. We managed to hang on to a lead in that third period, and like I said, grit it out and find the resolve to take the W.
You said the word flying a couple times there. Is that kind of what like the team identity is a little bit of the Stars here? Is they use your wheels and fly
There's
around
a couple of guys that you can't help that. You got your Jake Rileys of the world, and he's going to fly. So.
Yeah, favourite games, I can't pinpoint.
You go period if you want, like that too.
I did ask the question to Eric. I said, if you could pick a game, like what would it be? And it was just 2 moments. The before Christmas game, we didn't have our captain Joey, and then we had guys stepping up, and we got the win in the end. And I think that was a huge effort from the boys. And then I'd say the first game back after Christmas against the Brewers, where we come back, we hadn't really an opportunity to chase a lead. In that sense, so coming back in the last period to finish that game off against the Brewers would probably be another one.
Yeah, we've got a handful to pick from really, with a lot of sort of stunning comebacks. We seem to like to always do things the hard way to get a win. But I think for us was that first win against the Extreme. I think a lot of the guys really had a mindset of that. The Extreme are the team to beat. Look at that. They've got a lot of good guys. They got had the first pick in the draft. Got guys like David Huxley and everything that we weren't sure if they were going to play. So getting that first win against them sort of backed a lot of belief in the guys to be like, oh hey, they are a beatable team. If you apply yourself and you play the right way, they can be beaten. So that was one for us that I think really showed that we're on that level as well. So.
And then, in terms of the game as the season's gone on, has the conditioning changed in terms of the approach that you've had either at peak or wherever whether it be at Pumped or where do you go, Brewers go, sorry again?
We're at CrossFit Fallen at Royal Park.
So has it changed throughout the season in terms of before you were trying to build up to get people on the ice ready to play, and now you're in mid-season form where there must be an adjustment somewhere in there?
Yeah, we're trying to get more reps in the gym. We try to have a team session down at CrossFit Fallen, but a lot of guys as well live all over town. Sometimes the times aren't all that fantastic for them, so we just make sure that we say, hey, if you're not coming to the team sessions, you go into your own gym, you're posting photos, let us know what you've done.
Right.
And we're trying to get more reps in, so guys are going out there and doing that. If they are doing their own thing, they're getting held accountable. So.
Yeah, for us, we just leave that in the hands of Sean Baker from Peak.
Do it.
Yeah, he's literally structured a program for them, and they've got an app as well. So you got guys like Noah who live out at Victor Harbour. We don't expect him to come to recovery the next day, but he's got everything on the app, and they've tailored it individually depending on what guys need. And a guy like Ollie Martin's in the gym all the time, so making sure that he's not overtraining, and it's all quite individualised. So yeah, so it just depends on the guy and where they're at. And
I never really actually thought about that, is that guys already some guys might be at the gym 5 days a week anyways, and now you got to add in the team element to it that has to be catered for somehow.
Yeah, that's correct. So just being aware of where each guy is at and what they need, and and Sean Baker from Peak takes care of that for us.
Brilliant. I mean, for us, the thing I'm most proud of, really, obviously we have the great team at Pumped, and Brett has been doing great things with the guys, but even just their commitment off ice. You have a lot of guys that live in Seacliff area, they're running stairs, they're doing other things. You've seen it posted all over social media. Teams getting together and they're putting in the hard yards, whether it's with the crew at Pumped or on their own. So I'm super proud of all the effort they put in, top to bottom.
Are you surprised how close the competition is in terms of standings right now?
No, personally not at all. I mean, when you look at all those lists on paper, I thought, geez, this is going to be tough for all of us. And we've all probably been pulling our hair out watching games going, oh my God, the stress, heart rate's going through the roof. But no, I'm not surprised at all. We've got 3 quality teams, and it's, great for the league, great for the fans. Not so great for us.
And as we wrap things up here, how about you guys get a chance now to tell me a player on your team that deserves a bit more respect. You said Ambrose earlier, a bit more respect on the broadcast that I can highlight in the next couple of weeks when these teams are playing.
Well, I'm going to go with Ambrose. I think he's been slayed pretty hard a few times there when I've been watching and going, geez, that was a bit rough. But no, he's been doing really well, and I'm super proud of him. And, potted a goal. So he's doing great.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really intently listen to the broadcast to that
you
extent.
You Eric as well, do you?
No, not like that. But when I think of what you're trying to say, I'm thinking of who's the dark horse in your team that might not get as much of a call up. But the first person that comes to mind is probably Dean Peterson. I feel like he's pretty underrated, to be honest. He's obviously got a lot of experience behind his belt, and for me, he's a dark horse. He does his job really well. He sees the game really well, and when he's missing, we can tell. So I love the effort that he puts in, and he follows through, and he hits all the time, and he's in the right place, and he's setting his lines up. So if you were asking me to bring out one person, that's the first person that comes to my mind. Because
Eric Lean said that a couple times too, that he just adds balance to the whole equation up front.
Absolutely. He's a calm presence. He's played a lot of hockey in his time, and he knows how to play.
Who's your dark horse, or someone I should be talking about more?
Well, we already touched on him, but it was Tristan Reese for me. He's just exceeded all expectations. Not the fastest skater, not the tallest guy, not the strongest either, but he just is. He's got a good hockey mind. He makes the right play, he makes a simple play that needs to be done. He's reliable, he's a safe bet back there. So he's a guy that probably flies under the radar quite a bit. But he's definitely one guy that's exceeded our expectations.
I feel like those kind of guys would be the ones that if you were to redraft, maybe Tristan Reese wouldn't be so low on it. And same with Dean Peterson. He was a bottom end pick as well, right?
Well, we knew the guys that were going to be potential part-times, so we weren't going to invest early in them not understanding their full commitment. But we've been really impressed with the likes of Hucks and Sharps and Peterson and the way that they've committed to the season, and we're very grateful for it.
Well, I appreciate all 3 of you taking some time to chat a little bit about the experience so far. Before we tee up the next game, anything any of you want to add?
Nothing much.
We'll leave it at that. Friday, February 4th, Brewers at Stars. That game's on SBS On Demand, or you can come to the rink, nhsl.com.au. Click on the tickets tab. The games are also replaying now on NITV on 2 p.m. on Channel 34 all across the country the following day, which is pretty cool. So lots of time. Do you have people interstate that are texting you being like,
Oh yeah,
yo,
lots of people.
is this your team playing on team?
Yeah, a few people said, "Oh, I saw you on the bench," and whatever. But yeah, no, all over the place. Yeah, you're getting messages from people going, "Just flicked on. Yeah, I saw you on NITV or whatever it was."
And now there's even there's some other pro leagues popping up. There's one in Victoria going on, and we've got the NHSL WA coming up too.
Very exciting.
Trendsetters, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Will be a big game, Brewers and Stars. Will we see more chaos? I'm gonna probably bet on it. It is the NHSL, after all. We'll see you then. Thank you very much for joining us.